All right, we're at MagFest 2020 and we're talking to Michelle Eng, the founder of the University of Maryland Symphony Orchestra. You want to give us a little bit of your background as a musician and a video game musician?
Sure. My name is Michelle Eng, and I'm the founder of the University of Maryland Symphony Orchestra, which is a video game orchestra that I founded at my university in 2005. As a gamer, I've grown up playing Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy, and play violin and viola for many years. And I've always been a very active participant in orchestras, and that's been my passion. And in 2004, I saw video games live, the video game pianist and dear friends Final Fantasy online, and that really inspired me to start the Symphony Orchestra.
Cool. So what was that like, starting the Symphony Orchestra?
Starting the Symphony Orchestra, well, that's a fantastic question. My vision was, modeled after kind of seeing what the professional orchestras did, but, not having done it before, I didn't really know where to start. What I did was I actually first mentioned the idea to, I was part of a classical orchestra at school at the time, and I just mentioned the idea to my conductor and said, it would be really cool if we could play video game music. And he actually encouraged me to make an announcement to the entire orchestra during break at the next rehearsal. And I just, prepared a speech, and I said, who's interested in playing video game music? And a few people came up to me. And we started, I think, a few weeks after. It was in the beginning of the school year. We started a few weeks after that announcement. In the beginning, it was definitely challenging, I would say, because we didn't have any sheet music. We weren't able to, you couldn't buy it in the stores at that time. You had to basically make your own. So we spent many, many hours in the music lab at the school. We used notation software like Sibelius and Finale to create the sheet music. And a lot of it was a lot of guesswork and trial and error. But through that, we learned a lot about the arranging process and about orchestra, and we got people in the group involved in arranging. And the GSO currently has an arranging process where if you're interested in submitting an arrangement, you can join the arrangers' Google groups or listserv, and then you can be added. And they do like a peer review, and also there's a music committee that will give you some feedback on your arrangement. So that's like really helpful and very educational for the members, not just as players, but also as arrangers. So the arrangement is one of the more, I think, challenging aspects. And I think another aspect is like getting all the instruments that we needed. So for example, in the beginning, we had like maybe 2 violas, 2 violins, 1 bassoon, 2 trombones, and like a French horn and a piano. So the ensemble, it was really challenging to try to find sheet music that matched that ensemble, and it was constantly changing every week because new people would hear about it on campus, and then they would show up and they would want to join, and they were like, oh, we have to create another part for somebody. So there was a lot of back and forth of on the fly, adding new parts in the beginning. But over time, we began to standardize our orchestra arrangements just so there would be more consistency with our arrangements in general. But we like to also give flexibility to some arrangements that have maybe solos or feature specific instrument. So not all of the arrangements will be exactly the same, but in terms of the instruments that are not soloists, we try to kind of keep it consistent to the extent that we can. And then I think rehearsal space and performance space is also big challenges because space is limited on campus. We were originally rehearsing in the band room originally, but we didn't know at the time that that was space that you had to reserve, and it was something that you had to pay for. So we had to move to another space. Basically, it was a place called the Armory. That's one of our buildings on campus, and the only space in that building that we could have access to was a large lecture hall. You know, those seats where you like flip the desk up, and it was kind of challenging to kind of rehearse in that space, but that's what was limited. And you know, funding is always a challenge to have fundraising and all that. But eventually moved to like the Memorial Chapel on campus, so that was a little bit better in terms of spacing with the seating. I would say, you know, after that, when we were able to get a little bit more funding, we were able to move back into the School of Music, but we had to rent the space, and the cost of rehearsal space and performance space is not cheap. So I think this is true of any GSO or any Gamer Symphony Orchestra or any orchestra. Rental costs and performance space costs are some of the higher costs, expenses that you run into. But yeah, it was great because I had the chance to meet a lot of new friends and socialize, meet other orchestral musicians who love video game music. So I would say I made all of my closest friends in the Gamer Symphony Orchestra when, you know.
Awesome. So like after you graduated, what kind of communities did you get involved in after that?
Well, when I first graduated, I stayed on with the University of Maryland Gamer Symphony Orchestra for, I think it was about a year or so before I went abroad to work. But then when I came back, a couple of alums and I were interested in kind of continuing the spirit of the University of Maryland Gamer Symphony Orchestra. So we started the Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra. And that has been kind of where a lot of members go after they graduate from the University of Maryland. And one of my friends and colleagues, Kira Levitsky, she started the Baltimore Gamer Symphony Orchestra. So we all support each other with these kind of outgrowths of the University of Maryland Gamer Symphony Orchestra. Next year, this year, I'm planning to start. It's a new concept. It's called Level Up Orchestra. It's focused just on reading sessions, and basically, you know, we'll get together, do a read through, and then have new people meet each other. So it's a little bit different than weekly weekly rehearsals in a concert. It's just going to be more like a reading session, hangout, event-based type of like orchestra. Other than that, I'm also involved with Materia Collective. It's a fantastic community headed by Sebastian Wolf. Basically, they're part record label, part distributor, and they help a lot of online musicians with making a living off of covers of video game music. And there have been many albums released through them. And like, for example, one of my friends is pretty successful. Materia, he's a recording artist, and his albums are distributed through Materia. And we also have community albums where everyone in the community gets together and contributes to a track. And so far, I've joined a community. But I haven't had an opportunity to quite be part of an album yet. But hopefully, that will change in the very near future.
Awesome, cool. So, how's your MagFest been going, and what are you looking forward to in the remaining time?
I'm really looking forward to hanging out with Gamer Symphony Orchestra people. I've been working the panel that I did this morning. Video game music as program music. It was took up most of my MagFest so far, so I haven't had a chance to quite hang out and play some games, but I'm hoping to meet up with some of my friends and go play some games later today. And it's been really fun so far.
Awesome, great. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you.